What's up? Why am I black? I just set the camera up before I even started live and everything was good. And the minute I go live, the camera blacks out. That's a little better. Anyway, so box. There's a little history behind this box. So we'll kill a bit of time. I can't imagine too many people are going to watch this at, I don't know, what time is it? 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday. But whatever. It's a spur of the moment thing. And part of the spur of the moment is I just got a new Comcast DVR because my old one was 12, 13 years old and was having issues. So I got a new one today that they shipped me, and I'm going to put it in Hey Viking. And I put it in, and it don't work. And I just spent the last hour and a half on the phone, on chat, on everything, and come to find out they're like, "Oh, give it an hour, it'll work." That's their answer now. Matty Jake, what is up, dude? Anyone want to come hang out? I mean, I did this as much just hang out as much as an unboxing. It was just a spur of the moment thing because I just wanted to do something fun besides deal with Comcast. And this box Max sent me at the end of October, I believe. This is from Max from OmniaDrop, or DropEffects, excuse me. Company's DropEffects. OmniaDrop is the extruder. He basically sent me one as a sample years ago, like 2 years ago. I loved it. I actually bought another one. He just did an upgrade to it, made some better parts, made it a little bit lighter from what I understand. I'm not sure. I haven't actually looked at it. And a couple other things. Plus, he had some spare stuff that he was trying to unload, I guess. I'm not even sure. He's like, there's just a bunch of stuff in the box. So, the box, 2.5 months later, finally got here. This box has been like all over the world. Sent from Germany, from what we could tell, what little we can tell, because I know it bounced somewhere, because there's little, when you look at the little timeline that they do, there's little glitches that they don't really show you anything, but all of a sudden it appears somewhere else. But it bounced around the United States and went to New Jersey from Germany, which is normal. It usually lands in New Jersey, goes to Massachusetts because Massachusetts is the main hub, then comes into Connecticut and to me. Usually, when he ships to me, I usually get it in a couple of days, even with FedEx. But yeah, this one went from New Jersey to Memphis to somewhere else, and then back to Memphis, and then sat in Memphis for like a month, and then they found it again and started recording a timeline for it. I guess it was one of those boxes. I don't know if you ever seen that GIF of the box that just sits there and rolls. So I was actually expecting it to be completely abused, and as you can see, it's actually, it's a box. It came from Germany. It's really not in bad condition. I was expecting it to be all like pancaked. So anyway, that's the story of this very special long distance traveling run away from home box. It's a box. So anyway, what's everybody up to? What are you guys up to on this Tuesday? What else we got? Oh, Non-Fam's in here too. I didn't see him. Andrew S. What's up, Andrew? Local Maker, Viking, Chris Travis. What's up, Chris? Matty Jake. It's good to see you on streams again there, Matt. You should come hang out. Come jump in. I just posted the link to the live stream. I think Viking should jump in too. We never see him on a live stream anymore. What's in the box? I don't think there's a lot in here. Peanuts. Paperwork. What the hell is this? Air Max. Oh, this is like a I don't know, there's stuff in here. Hard. Open here. Oh, okay. I thought it was one of those dry pads, but I guess it's not. Hemera is a good extruder. I liked my Hemeras. I like this a lot better. Oh, new screws. because from what I understand, it's now shorter. Ooh, a new heat break too. Ooh, new heat break. I might need that soon because it's me and I like to smash stuff. Let's bring the garbage can over here so I can just dump the peanuts into it. Garbage can lid, get out of the way. Let's unload some peanuts into the garbage can. Make sure there's nothing but peanuts. Okay, I'm still getting peanuts on the floor. And I see buttloads of wires. Now, I know he sent me a 12-volt heater, and I started laughing because I've been converting to 24-volt. So I've got a bunch of these really nice, round 12-volt heaters, which are freaking awesome. And a new thermistor, and another new thermistor, and another 12-volt heater. I think that's 12-volt. They'll say on it. Yep, 12-volt. So, I think what I'm going to do, because I got the one I just took off too, and I'm going to have to order a 24-volt from him. I think I'll be giving them away. So if anyone's got a 12-volt system they have that they want to upgrade to a much better, now these are 30-watt, but to be honest with you, I use these. Matter of fact, that one still got the 12-volt on it. These act to me, I'm just, referencing, guessing here, but these are about equivalent to a standard 40 or 50-watt heater because it's more evenly heating because it's round. The heater's completely around it. Basically, this is kind of the idea that E3D is going to with the new Revo. And who else just did one? Somebody else just did a round heater too. Isn't Bondtech coming out with a round heater too? Somebody else is. But everyone's going to these round heaters because they're just better. They're more efficient. You can use a lower wattage, amperage heater and get more heat transfer into the plastic because it's not from one side. It's all the way around. And it's more direct. I think that's it. I don't see anything more but peanuts in here. More peanuts. So yeah, I've got like 3 of those. So if you have a 12-volt system, I was going to raffle them off, but not that many people have 12-volt systems anymore. Yeah, did Bondtech come out with a round heater, or is it just that thing of theirs? I don't know. Anyway, if you'd like to try a round heater and you have a 12-volt system, get a hold of me. Send me an email at 3dprintingllama@gmail.com. I think I have 3 of them. I was going to raffle them off, but I'm not even going to. If somebody wants them, I'll send them one. The only I might have to do is hit you up for, $5 shipping. And I will send you one. And the thermistor's already set in there. It's the heater. The heater takes standard E3D heat break and nozzles. So it's the same as an E3D heat break or heat block. Same everything. So everything works. So you can screw this in to replace your standard or aftermarket or whatever heat block. And they are nicer. And they got the nice, again, it's all black, but they got the nice, there you go. They got the nice cartridge thermistor and all that. They're nice. I like them. Look, not tinned, but actual freaking couplings. So yeah, if you want a 12-volt heater, you want to try one of these round ones, they're nice. For what I like them because they're lighter. They're quite a bit lighter than their standard aluminum block with the standard heater with the standard. I shouldn't say quite a bit. It's lighter. It's like 4 or 5 grams lighter. Quite a bit. Whatever. They're nice. I like them better. I like the whole OmniaDrop DropEffects better. I've got to say, and I said that Max was actually asking me as a, analysis, input, whatever, as he's doing these upgrades, because this is an upgrade to the old original unit. It's a little bit lighter, smaller. I guess some parts are aluminum now that used to be 3D printed. Some of the 3D printed is now SLS or something. I don't know. I'd have to go read it. I looked at it and didn't have any money, so I couldn't afford it. And he said he had a couple. I think these are like B grade or something. There's cosmetics wrong with them. He's like, you know what? I'll just send them to you. I was like, all right, cool. Well, if you go to Delta, is that Delta Mini? Uses a standard E3D heat block, doesn't it? It uses like an E3D or an MK8, same difference. The MK8s are a little bit thicker is all. But they'll both work. It's just an M6 thread. And this is way lighter than like the MK8 ones. I mean, it's just lighter. This whole wire harness and everything weighs less than just the aluminum block on a normal one. Anyway, they're cool. If someone wants one, I'll send them to you. But anyway, yeah. So he sent me these parts to try out. These are the new version OmniaDrop upgrades to the OmniaDrop version 1.1, making it a 1.2 or something like that. Ooh. Oh, wow. This is kind of nice. Oh, wow. It's got a spider on it. Spider on the knob. Oh, you know what? No, this is the same. All right. Now, some of the upgrades, I guess this whole thing is thinner. I believe it is. It kind of looks like it is. Just looking at mine over there. Damn lighting. There we go. That's better. The actual center orbital plate in the middle is now aluminum. These gears are now either injection molded or SLS printed. The main body is still the same printing. Everything else looks the same. Looks nice. What's in the other one? I think it's a new air duct because the whole thing's smaller, so it's needs new air ducts to redirect because everything mounts in a slightly different place. And from what I understand, he redid it so it gets a little better coverage. And they're printed out of a higher resolution or injection molded. Are they printed or injection molded? No, that's definitely printed. But yeah, that's pretty nicely printed. Again, you probably can't see it, but that's just regular printing. Oh, and it's like, got the mount in there and everything. He does really nice stuff. The guy is good. And again, I was talking about it earlier and got sidetracked. He asked me, I don't know, a month or two ago, any issues I've had. You know, he wanted to know what issues I've had, how I fixed them, if I had an issue, you know, any of that kind of stuff. No, there's no buggers. He prints them at like, they're not even 0.1. I think he does them at like 0.6 layer height with a 0.2 nozzle. Something ridiculous like that. I don't know. He told me once. I can't remember exactly what it is. But yeah, it's a super high resolution, super well done print. Yeah, they're clean. And this is super clean. I mean, super duper clean. And it's got a little spider on it. Spidey. he always does like this thing unscrews. And he always does like a little critter. I got a pumpkin on the pumpkin, and I don't know. I used to have a Christmas tree on that, but it fell off and I can't find it. It's somewhere under the table. But yeah, it's all geared, and he does the planetary gear system, which does all the gearing and makes it super light and awesome and very compact, very small. And I guess it's more compact because, as you can see here, that aluminum plate is very thin. That's your planetary gear thing. And the old printed one used to be probably twice that thick, I'm guessing. And all the mounting and everything for it. So looking at this, I'm just guessing there's about, I'm going to guess 4 millimeters shorter than it used to be. Just guessing. I'll have to put it on there and compare it, which I'm not going to do right now. I'm not even sure which printer I'm going to put it on. But yeah, for the third time, I'm going to go back to, he's asked me, I got 18 different things going through my brains at once, so sorry if I sidetrack. He asked me if I had any issues. I have literally not had a single issue with either one of these since the day I installed them. And these are the only extruders I can ever say that about. Extruders/hot-ends. Every single V6 I've had has had at least a dozen clogs. Every single MK8 I've ever had has had clogs, as everybody knows MK8s do. Although my MK8s, honestly, I designed my extruder, and since I did that, I had much less problems than I ever did with a V6. And they were smaller and lighter and all that crap. But that's a different thing. Yeah, I would get one there, Viking. I really would. If you're doing PLA, PETG, and ABS, I would get that over like a Mosquito. And I know that sounds wrong, but I wouldn't buy a Mosquito for any reason other than to do like high-end polycarbonate, because I run polycarbonate through this too, and I haven't had a issue. But if I was running polycarbonate all the time, I'd probably get a Mosquito with like a Bondtech extruder. But I've had Bondtech extruders, and I had lots of problems with the Bondtech extruders. My biggest problem with the Bondtech extruders is the gear teething was so small on them, so fine. I was constantly getting it slipping, and I'm like, what's wrong with it? And all I'd have to do was take a toothbrush to it. It would just clog up all the time. I've done nothing to these. Neither one of them. I was actually talking to him, and I'm like, I should probably take one apart and like, look at it at least, because I literally haven't had a problem. I haven't cleaned them, haven't done anything. They just work. I've taken that one. I've had to take the compression lever off because I was testing some TPU that was too big. It wasn't the extruder's fault. It was the actual, I was beta testing some TPU for a company, and come to find out their 1.75 was, some of it was like 2.75, and it kept getting stuck. So I literally had to take this arm off, which is literally one screw. You pop it off, you pull the filament out, you put the screw back on, done. Unlike the Hemera, which I loved my Hemeras, but oh my God, they were probably the most troublesome E3D product I ever owned. I was constantly having feed problems with those things. When they worked great. When they didn't work, they were a major pain to disassemble and clean out. And that was the biggest thing. It wasn't even that they had a problem that often. It's just when it did, it was a major pain to take it apart and get in there and clean it out. They were just terrible. The only thing I haven't tried yet in comparison to these are like the new ultralight. What the hell is that new? I want to call it OmniaDrop. That's what this is. The new ultralight extruder there. The LDO's making the little round motors for. That's actually what I want to try. I want to try putting one of those little LDO motors on here because that would light it up. I mean, these have pancake motors already. They're pretty tiny, but them little round ones, although I have a feeling it would just burn them out. But I do think these work at a higher rate, speed. You have to spin more. I don't know. But I like these a lot. The OmniaDrop extruders are freaking awesome. I think they should be way more popular than they are. And everyone's like, oh, they're expensive. They're really not. You look at these people buying, you know, the first person that complains that it was expensive to me ever was like, oh, it's $170. Yes, it's $170. He had just spent $160 on a mosquito. Okay, mosquitoes are awesome. Yeah, the Orbiter, sure, bro. They're almost the same thing, but yeah, the Orbiter. I've been looking at the Orbiters just to play. I think that's a pretty cool idea. But again, the mosquito, okay, is what, $170 for the cheap one, $160, whatever it is. Don't get me wrong, I love the mosquitoes. I think they're awesome, but I'm not doing nylons and polycarbonates and, you know, stuff like that all the time. And that's really what they're for. If you're running PLA and PETG, you do not need a mosquito. You just don't need it. Is it nice to have it? Frick yeah, they're awesome. But do you need it? No. But they're $170, $160, whatever they are. I think the little short one is $140, whatever. That's without an extruder. You still have to go out and buy an extruder, which, you know, you're going to buy that. You're going to get something like a Bontac, another $100 minimum. So you're at $250, $260 to get basically the same thing as this for $160. This is $100 less. And this is lighter, and faster, and more direct. And my biggest problem with all of those multi is you end up with a really long filament path between the extruder and the hot end. And I do a lot of flexibles, TPUs, TPEs, all that crap. And the shorter that filament path is, the better. And this is about the shortest one you can get. I do believe the new Bontac all-in-one, basically the same thing as this. If you look at it, it's almost the same thing as this. I mean, I don't think it has the, they use one big gear instead of the orbital gear system. Same idea. I think that actually has a half a millimeter shorter filament path, which is nice. LXT or LTX or whatever the new Bontac one is. Although I've heard people complaining about that having problems jamming and stuff. I've never had this thing jam. Never. The one jam I had was material was out of spec. And that was a, you know, known issue. What's up, Dave? Just playing with the new stuff, Dave. You got a bunch of these. Dave's got a bunch of these. You already have all these upgrades. Matter of fact, you started printing your own of these, didn't you, Dave? Like the bodies and everything. Sergio, it's stuff from OmniaDrop. And again, since some new people showed up, if anyone has a 12-volt system, he sent me some new heaters. And somebody's here. I might have to go. I have no idea who that is. Hopefully someone from my mother, not from me. I've been converting mine to 24 volt. So I have another one of these. So if anyone wants to try these round heaters and still has a 12 volt system, I'll be more than happy to send you a awesome round heater, because these are nicer, better, lighter, more reliable than the standard, you know, E3D/MK8 block with the side things. Yeah, you got 10, but you upgraded them all already, right? This is the new 2.0 version gearbox, which you've been actually printing your own and just getting the parts from him, right? The aluminum and a couple of the mechanicals. Jesus, everyone's coming up and down my driveway. I'll holidays. Everybody's around for the holidays. Anyway, so yeah, if anyone wants a 12-volt heater block, they want to try the round ones. Again, they're definitely nicer. Is there really any advantage to them? I would rather have one, but again, it's kind of like having a mosquito. Do you need it? No. Do you want one? Sure. For the weight and the more reliability, I'm going to say any round heater, not necessarily just OmniaDrop. I mean, the Revo that E3D is coming out with, and I think there's a couple other people with round heaters now. The round heater is just going to be more reliable because they're heating around the filament. It's not one side getting really hot and then trying to transfer through the filament from one direction. It's just a nicer setup, and they're lighter and smaller and easier, and they have the little, and if you do get one of these, the wrench grip goes to the top. Not this way. It has to go up because the heater's actually in the bottom half. Thermistor's in the top half. But you can put the wrench on it. That's what this whole flat spot is. You put I think it's a 6mm or 8mm or 10mm wrench, open-end wrench on it, and you can undo your nozzle without breaking crap like you do with most. Like normally, if I do it with a regular, aluminum block, I have to use a pair of these, and then you're always worried you're going to crimp one of the wires or something. This is a thermistor's in the way, where this is right there. You slide the I think it's 10mm open end on it and undo your nozzle. Done. Much easier to change nozzles. I think Dave, because Dave, you said Dan OmniaDrop, right? Dan's got an OmniaDrop with the round heater and everything. I think that's on that 12-volt unit. But anyway. Oh, I thought you were just buying the gearboxes and then printing your own. Because this shell is a little thinner, right? Dave's got a bunch of these already. He's been upgrading like crazy. The actual body's shorter than the original, isn't it? I haven't held it up to the old one yet to check it out. I know it's supposed to be a little bit lighter and more reliable. Not that I've had any problems in reliability. I've literally had zero. But I was under the impression you were printing your own bodies and just getting the hardware from him. And the new fan duct, which is basically the same, but I guess it's the angle's a little different or something. I don't know. Yeah, he's using all polycarbonate too. That's the other thing. All of these bodies are not PETG or PLA. They're polycarbonates. Anything he 3D prints is polycarbonate. So it's better temperature resistance, better stability, under heat, blah, 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 blah. More rugged, doesn't break. And how do I know it doesn't break? I'm going to be doing... Did I ever do a video on the hub? I don't think I did. I recorded it, but I never did it. I made hubcaps for my leaf grinder. I did some other leaf grinder videos with TPU for it, but I made hubcaps because the hubcaps kept cracking. I'd hit a rock or something, rub the tire up against a rock, and the little hubcaps would break. And you got to keep them on there because it's self-propelled, and all of the gearing and everything is actually inside the actual wheel, inside the rim. It's on the inside of the rim, all the drive and everything. So if the hubcap pops off, all those springs and gears and brakes and all that crap get exposed. I 3D printed some polycarbonate ones out of Snow Labs Polycarbonate Plus, and have not had it. I've smashed those things into the rocks, and they hold up better than the original, the original form cast, whatever you call it. I'm guessing they were ABS plastic ones. Like even I even printed the little fingers that snap into the rim, and they aren't even breaking off or anything. I expected the little tabs to break off. Nope. Worked fine. I was expecting to have to like put a piece of caulk or some duct tape on there to hold them on. Haven't had a problem. And they've been on there over a year now. I don't know. Did I ever release a video on those? I know I recorded one. I don't think I ever like edited it and released it. I should probably do that, huh? I've got like 6 videos that I was going through my hard drive the other day. I've got like 6 videos all recorded. All I gotta do is like throw it into iMovie or Final Cut Pro or whichever one I feel like using that day and spend 2 hours and edit them. We just don't like editing. It's too boring. That and I always look at it and go, God, I'm terrible at filming and the lighting's terrible and no one's going to watch this. And why am I wasting, all these hours editing it? No one's ever going to watch it. I'm about right. Most of my videos get like 50 to 100 views and that's about it. Not really worth all the time and effort put into them, but whatever. I'm not exactly the videographer or whatever you want to call. I'm a hackadoodle. Hackadoodle is a good way to put it. Yes, I'm a video hackadoodle. So anyway, that was the box. This is all I was expecting. I knew he was sending some spare parts, a couple of heaters. I know what's wrong. One of these has got a little, which is why he couldn't sell it. It's got a little ding on the bottom. He was saying they were, nothing wrong with them. It's just cosmetics. That one's got, I don't know. Can you see it? There's a little like ding in the bottom of it, and this one does too, actually. In the same spot, it's got a little dent. Which, who cares as long as it works, right? It's a 3D printer. Oh, the other thing I like about these over the other ones, which he doesn't have here, but I think I got a couple 3 extras that he sent me last time. The heat socks. Oh my God, the socks on these things actually stay on without drooping. The socks on the E3Ds and most of the like MK8 style socks are always drooping and they rub on stuff and catch on stuff and get globs underneath them. These actually stay put. Oh, you did get the kits. See, I thought you were printing your own parts and then just buying like the aluminum and the because like the gears are now not printed, right? They're injection molded. Yeah, those are injection molded from the looks of it. It's hard to tell though. His printing is like incredible because he uses such a small nozzle and such high resolution and everything, or low resolution, however you want. High resolution, low layer height. Yeah, there's I can see the little tabs from the injection tubes where they shave them off. But anyway, yep, that was in the box. Anyone want to come hang out and BS for half an hour? Come on in. What else is an upgrade on it? Anyone wants to jump in? I know the gear's injection molded. He went to the aluminum plate. The actual body is a little bit thinner, right? By like a millimeter or 2, if not more. I mean, the whole shell is thinner this way. Everything else looks about the same. They are just wicked nice. I mean, just touching this, it's just like smooth. And it's, I mean, if I rub my fingernail on it, you can sort of hear the layer lines, because I know this is printed, but it's polycarbonate. But it's white. It's a bummer. I really wanted to put it on the pumpkin, but the pumpkin's all orange. Oh well, beggars can't be choosers, I guess. I may just put it on the llama core. I haven't even run the llama core in like 2 months. Just haven't fired it up even. Probably should do that. Kind of want to tear it down and start from scratch and build a whole new printer. Because that's the way I am. I built that when everyone was like, oh, Core XYs, I don't know, are they any good? They were still like the new thing when I built that. Now they're like everywhere. So I want to build something else because everybody's got a Core XY now. And almost all other Core XYs are better than that. It works. It prints pretty well considering I designed it. I think I want to do it is Llama Core. That's what that is the Llama Core. That's 100% my design. There is nothing, not a part on there that's designed by anyone but me other than the actual extruder, and the mechanics. But the whole motion system, mountings, all the motor mounts, all the belt paths, everything is all me. I was trying to do something foolish and I sort of succeeded. My concept when I built that was, if you always look at the Core XYs, especially originally, they were building these huge boxes, like 500 millimeter boxes. And they were putting all the hardware inside the box of aluminum. So you have this huge box, and you ended up with this like 180 or 200 or 220 tops print area. My idea was, one, I was never going to enclose it because I didn't care about ABS. So I never planned on enclosing it. So I was taking all my hardware, making my 500 millimeter box, take all the hardware mounted on the outside as much as possible so I can get the largest build platform area out of, that 500 millimeter cube footprint, base footprint, because it's actually a bigger footprint with the parts hanging out on the outside. But, the area of contact on the table is 500 millimeters square. Excuse me. That was the original concept. And then I was doing it all by compression instead of clamp. When you really think about wheel systems and V-groove, you have your V-groove aluminum and you clamp each extrusion. You have two wheels on one side and one wheel on another, and you clamped that single piece of extrusion. Well, by getting rid of that inner one and making my clamping system on the outside of two extrusions, and you clamp both extrusions from the outside, again, you gain that, 30, 40 millimeters at the wheel and all the mounting hardware and all that take up. So you gain almost 100 millimeters of print area. And the whole carriage isn't clamped onto each extruder on each side, on each extrusion on each side. It's clamped to the whole frame from the outside. Same with the uprights. Not that you can see them there, but I swear I've seen them. You can't, it's too dark. But everything clamps from both sides and clamps the frame, not each individual extrusion, which sounds good, and it actually does work. The problem is we beat the crap out of it, and as the, if one of these extrusions move, it doesn't stay clamped anymore because it's clamped from both sides. And I'm kind of abusive of that printer and had issues. I mean, it works. It does work. It's just good concept, poor execution. It works. It works pretty well, actually. It's just not. It's kind of a maintenance nightmare to keep it smooth running because of that. The polycarbonate, I went to these trucks, are all polycarbonate now. These aren't PLA or PETG anymore. They're polycarbonates, and that has helped quite a bit, but it's still not. Not only that, I've bumped it a few times, and the extrusions have little bends in them, and if it was clamped around it, it would still work, even though it would stress it a little bit. Where now it just gets floppy if it hits a low spot or something. It loosens up. But it still works. And it's a good idea. Just need to better build the frame itself. Everything's done with brackets, and I really should have done through drilling with a bolt and a screw. And actually drill through mating extrusions and put the screw through the actual extrusions instead of just brackets, because the brackets over time loosen up, slip, move. And that's the biggest problem is once a month, if I run this thing all month long, once a month I got to go around and tighten every little angle bracket and every little, L bracket and every little thing, because something always wiggles loose, which is the downside of that frame structure. But anyway, as I babble, nobody else wants to come in. I've been doing this for 40 minutes and I'm about done babbling to myself. Yeah, I do know he used all polycarbonate though, which is nice because I like polycarbonate too. He does a nice job with everything. I mean, he just really does. He is meticulous. And it's a good design. Really, there's only two things on this whole system I don't like, and they're kind of petty. I dislike and it's all fans. I dislike the fan location of the part fan. It doesn't hurt anything. There's nothing wrong with it. But that fan on the flat just looks stupid. It just looks wrong. And it does lower your motion because it's sitting there and it's sticking out. So, it makes the footprint, the, X travel a little bit smaller than it could be because that fan will hit something. It actually doesn't on that one because it actually slides underneath the other extrusion. So it doesn't really stop it. But on the pumpkin, it butts into the lead screw if I let it do the full 310 millimeter travel. I can only do 295X. And the fans themselves are loud as crap. And I've tried the quieter fans, and they work. But I find it seems to overheat. And though I've never actually gotten a jam, I never ran them long enough to get a jam, and I think it would jam if I used a slower / quieter fan. And this here unit is what makes all the noise. This is the part cooling, not the part cooling fan, the hot end cooling fan, and it actually blows down and comes back up here through the cooling fins of the actual I want to say heat break, not the heat break, the hot block. The actual cooling to the heater, the fins. So it arcs up and around, and there's something in that arc that just increases the fan noise. Yeah, I don't really lose anything on the Y so much. Because, like, if you put an OmniaDrop on, you're about the same distance when you put a part cooling fan on. So I don't really lose anything in the Y. But in the X, I lost like 5 millimeters. If that. I could redesign it around it, but your average everyday, whatever you put it on is going to have the same problem. And they're just loud as crap. And I did the whole 50 millimeter adapter for a while, which works. Again, makes it a little quieter, not a lot quieter. And again, it just looks freaking stupid. And it sticks the part cooling fan out even farther because it's a bigger fan. And then you got the adapter, and it's just too much. But that's really the only thing I can say. And there's nothing wrong with them. I mean, every extruder has to have its part cooling fan. It's just how you mount it. I wish he came up with a different mounting location. I don't know where he'd put it. I'd actually like it right here in front of this gear, but then you can't access the gear. And I gotta say, and I totally agree with him, part of his main design was to make sure he had this gear to load and unload filament and take care of things. You know, if you get a jam or you start to get a jam, not that I ever have, but having this gear that you can grab the knob and turn it and load filament, unload filament is awesome. I'm sorry. It seems like a little trivial thing. You can do it with software, blah, 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 blah. Sticking filament in that hole and spinning this knob to load filament and letting it squirt out the bottom. There ain't nothing easier. This is the easiest loading and unloading extruder I've ever used. It is completely and utterly awesome. By and far the best ever. I'm going to have to mount this on that. I think I'm going to convert that into the Crow XY or Craw XY or whatever they call it. Basically like the Ultimakers where they have the X. That, you know, and then you don't have the big long belt pass, even though you kind of do. Because you still have 2 belts for X and 2 belts for Y, but they're just the out and back. They're not all the way around. I've measured it out and you end up with almost exactly the same amount of belt total. The thing of it is instead of 2 belts being stupid long, like on this, there's 4 belts all that are just out and backs. That's all they are. So they actually are more reliable, which is why Ultimaker and I think Raise 3D have a couple that way. I think their new ones are that way too. And then, you know, it has the X that, you know, head mounts at the corner of the X and goes back and forth. And you have the advantage of the Core XY in the sense that there's no motor mounted other than the extruder. There's no, you know, like the Ender 5 has the X motor mounted and the Y has to throw the X motor back and forth. And the X motor is mounted on the extrusion. Where the Crow XY, they each have their own set, like the Ultimakers. I don't know if you've seen an Ultimaker or Race. I'm pretty sure Raise 3Ds are that way too. There's a couple others. There's a couple of guys that have done really high-end ones. They've kind of done like Voron versions of the Crow XY. I can't remember the name of them. What the hell's the name of those freaking things? I was just looking at them the other day. There's 2 of them where they, you know, they use the linear rails and they X'd it and put the carriage in the middle and it drives the whole thing. And they're like stupid fast. They're like, one guy's comparing it to his Voron side by side, and it's just like, it takes the Voron and makes it like comparatively sit still, and it actually runs faster and gives you a cleaner print at the high speeds than the Voron, I guess. I mean, he runs it at like ridiculous speeds. He's like, my only limitation now is the extruder. I could put a bigger, faster extruder / hot end on it, but then it just gets heavier, and that makes it start. I gotta slow it down for vibrations. Like that's, you know, I'm at the limit of the frame structure. I'm trying to remember what the hell the name of it is. There's 2 of them out that are like, you know, they're like Vorons, that kind of build thing. Vorons or Rat Rigs or one of those that are Core XY. These are, how's the name of them? I was just looking at them the other day. Going, I want to do that, but I want to do it with 2020 extrusion, even though. Yes, I think that is it. Yeah. What they actually call the printer, though, they have a name for it. Yeah, I think it is Annex Engineering that's doing it. They're, one of them's like Dutch or something, isn't it? I haven't really been paying attention to them. I've just been checking them out, going, yeah, that might be my next design, because, you know, did the Core XY thing. Don't really like the... I've got to say, I am anti-bed slingers. Ever since I built that Pumpkin King, it's probably the most reliable printer I've ever had. I mean, it just works, and it works good. Now, I have never, ever... Oh, curmudgeon, what's up? I have never really put anything big on that, because for one, I just don't want to run it for 20 hours straight. I don't run any printer that long. I think I did a vase on it that was like 350 millimeters tall. So it'll do 300 square by 400 tall, I think. And actually, I limited it to like 350 because I put the angle brackets inside the uprights, which took like 40 or 50 millimeters off the rise. Stiffened up the tower. K3, yes, I'm pretty sure that is it. Yeah, that's what I should. I want to do something similar to that. I mean, I won't do that. For one, I can't afford linear rails. So my design is going to have to be around 2020 extrusion because I got a buttload of it. And I really don't have to buy any. All I'd have to do is design the carriage and print it. I have wheels. I got a buttload of freaking wheels, both mini and full size from Open Builds. I think it'll be a better setup for me than the Core XY is. The Core XY is nice. The Core XY is a tuning nightmare in the sense of, especially for that thing. If you do start having a problem on a Core XY, and people don't really discuss this, it's really, really hard to diagnose where it is. If you have one bad wheel bearing out in one of all of your, belt paths, and everyone's like, oh, the belt path's so long. Belt path being long in the sense of the belt stretch is not as much of an issue as everyone. These belts stretch less than like a billionth of a millimeter in all their length. They just don't stretch that as much as people make it out. Most of your error points are in all the connections to idlers and idler bearings. That's where your play actually comes from. And you get a bad bearing, and one of those idlers start doing this, unless you actually see it in the belt, yeah, Open Builds. And I've got an affiliate link. So if you're going to buy any, let me know and I'll give you my affiliate link so I can make, my 10 cents off of it. That's the only affiliate link I'll ever had so far is Open Builds because I love Open Builds. Their products are good if they have an issue, and I've had issues with Open Builds. Their service is awesome, except for the only way to get service is through email, which sucks. They don't have a phone number. But when you send them an email, like I had an issue with parts from this, and I emailed them. They're like, blah, blah, blah. They sent me some other emails, asked me a few questions. I'm like, yeah. And like on the third email, I'm like, all right, I'm starting to get a little pissed off. I'm like, all right, done with the questions. Please send a new one. They're like, oh, sorry, we already sent it out. You should have it tomorrow. We were just trying to find out what was wrong so we could fix it. They'd already sent it out. They just kept asking questions because I kept feeding them information and they wanted information. They are wicked, wicked good about customer service. Again, the only downside to their customer service is it's by email only. There is no phone calls to Open Builds, which is kind of. You should be able to tell if it's thumping. You might just have some crud on one of the wheels. I have, or actually on the extrusion. I've actually had extrusion issues more than I've had wheel issues. I've had like pop marks in the aluminum extrusion over time. And I have a feeling it's because the wheel is hard, but it's soft enough that it gives a little where the aluminum doesn't give it all. So if you get like a little piece of sand, and I live in a beach location, so sand is part of life here. I have gotten sand on the wheels. It like sticks into the wheel a little bit, but it actually like damages the aluminum as it goes along. So I have had that happen. I mean, everyone's like, oh, well, you can use linear rails. Yes, I can use linear rails. And if you get sand in a linear rail, you're out, $60, not a $9 freaking wheel or $4 wheel or whatever they are. If it's only under power, I'm guessing it's either a stepper or a driver thing. That sounds like a stepper thing. Like you have a wire cross somewhere getting feedback, or a bad stepper driver, or a loose wire somewhere. Yeah, linear rails are by far the best. No question about it. Are they the best for this? To be honest, linear rails, LMUs, or wheels, if everything's working properly, they all work just fine. There's not, we've so micromanaged the weight on hot ends and stuff now that the amount of weight we throw around with these motors is insanely small. I mean, look at CNCs. Look at the mostly printed CNC. A lot of people are using regular, NEMA 17s to throw around a freaking router head. Spinning a little hot end around is not difficult. And the accuracy on these, I will take it in this order. I think LMUs are actually the worst. And here's why. There's no adjustment to them. If you go out and you buy the real expensive, whatever that brand name is, LMU, you're going to have a good LMU. But you also got to buy their really expensive rod to match it perfectly. There's zero adjustability to them. If you don't oil and grease them properly, they'll start wearing grooves. And then you're tearing the whole thing apart to replace one. You get a little sand in a wheel on one of those, you pull a screw, you pop a new wheel in, and off you go. Hit it with a toothbrush and a vacuum, you're off and running again. LMUs are by far the worst serviceability. Linear rails are a close second in bad serviceability. If you get really good linear rails and you take care of it, they'll last and they'll give you by far the most accuracy. But we're already beyond the accuracy of freaking, it's a hot glue gun. We're spitting a hot glue gun around. Your extrusion rate is less accurate than the wheels are. Wheels are going to give you the most medium of accuracy with the highest serviceability. And probably the longest lasting, to be honest with you. If you get anything in a linear rail, it's done. Now, they are harder and they use better bearings, and, the actual balls are better. And what's up, Jerry? All that good crap. Yeah, there's a point beyond which. Now, I got to say, with the CNC, now that I've been using the wheels on the CNC, I will very rapidly, if I can ever get money again, be replacing those wheels with linear rails. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because they're just not stiff enough to throw that much weight around. Do they do it? Sure. Will they work? Yep, works beautifully. Is it going to last? Nope. It is not. I'm not going to get years and years and years. There's one wheel. I've replaced one wheel on this in its whole lifetime. These are all the original little mini wheels. I built this with, 5 years ago? And everyone's like, oh, you got to keep it clean. Yeah, you keep it clean. Just like you do LMUs or linear rails. Or you don't keep the crap clean, it ain't going to last. I don't care what bearing you're using or what motion system you're using. If you don't keep it clean, it ain't going to last. But I literally wipe the thing down, take the dust off of it with a paper towel and a vacuum, and done. I never have a problem. I had one of them go bad because I got a piece of sand in it. I went to the beach, came back, had sand on my hand or something, touched it, got in the aluminum extrusion, and screwed up one of the wheels. And it actually screwed up the aluminum too. But I just took a file to it and filed it down, and it's still on there. That's still the same. I actually filed it and then turned it 90 degrees, 45 degrees, 90 degrees. Yeah, 90 degrees. So it's still, this is the face actually that has like little sand divots in it. Yes, the Onefinity that would be my choice. See, the Onefinity wasn't even fully out when I bought mine. It's only been out like a year. And they were back ordered like 6 months then. And I wanted one, but when it was a lot smaller and it was still kind of new and untested, and I kind of needed it now. That's actually why I didn't buy the Bulkman one, because Bulkman is a company out of China who I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe they're actually the supplier, the Chinese supplier / manufacturer for open builds. They're kind of like LDO is to, printed solid. They have basically my CNC with linear rails and an actual spindle instead of the router. I put the spindle on later. It's about $1,000 less until you add shipping, and it's like $800 shipping. So it's still about $200 less when you get linear rails. The problem is once again, he was like, I went to order it, and he's like outright said, with the pandemic and everything, dude, he's like, I want to make sure before you even bitch, we're a good 6 months before you'll see it. I was like, yeah, I can't do that. I can't wait that long. I can't shell out $2,000 or $3,000 to China and not have it, have it shipping and not problems. And then the other thing is, if anything is wrong with it or it's missing parts, and reading all the forums, it happens. He takes care of it, but it happens. Once again, you're waiting months for the replacement part to ship to you. And I was like, once again, open builds, it may not be as good of a machine, but if anything goes wrong with it, I got new parts the next day or the day after. So that's why I went with the open builds. And I don't regret it at all. I'm glad I got it, even though it was probably $200 more. I had problems with the aluminum, didn't show up. They were like, okay, we're going to ship you out a new set. With the new set is a label. If you get the old set in, stick the label on it, ship it back to us. I got the other aluminum extrusions. Same thing, FedEx. 2 months later, FedEx is the worst around here. I don't know why. FedEx just does not like Connecticut. Anything coming to Connecticut, they always ship to some other state first. It's like, oh, let's ship it to Florida. They need it in Florida. Florida needs to check out this thing going to Connecticut from New Jersey. It's like I could drive down to freaking open builds in like 4 hours. I could be at their door. 2.5 months later, you get a part. FedEx is terrible, which is all they use now. But anyway, I digress. Blasto, what's up? Just in time for. It's not even that they're lazy, it's definitely location wise. I don't know if you guys know, FedEx is a subcontractor. FedEx does not. Their drivers are not FedEx drivers. They are subcontractors. They lease a FedEx truck and they go to the station and they pick up, and they don't get paid by the hour, and they get paid by the package delivery on location, blah, blah, blah. They're subcontractors. And that's not necessarily a good thing. It's actually a bad thing. Around here, and I know you talk to other people in other places in the country, UPS is by and far the best around here. I mean, by 10, 20-fold. Anything I order or get from UPS, it's very, I get it. For when I get it in the morning. The FedEx driver, last night, my brother ordered my mother a new carpet for Christmas for the dining room. It showed up at 9:30 last night. That's normal for FedEx around here. They show up anywhere from 7:30, 8 o'clock at night to 10:30 at night. That's normal for them around here. Go somewhere else, you get some of the best. I've heard other people say, "Oh, FedEx is awesome. UPS sucks." It's all location based. Depends on who's running that local hub. Around here, FedEx is the worst. Our local mail here isn't bad. I would choose UPS over regular USPS, but I'll take USPS is fine around here. I don't have a problem with the local end of it. Sometimes shipping it out, it gets lost in the wilderlands of some other state, but here in Connecticut, our regular everyday mail service is fine once it gets to Connecticut. Yeah, no, I wasn't waiting 6 months for it. I just wasn't. And that was the other thing cool. I mean, I would use him again in a heartbeat, or at least contact him, because we did the whole credit card and everything, and he wrote us. He's like, "I'm not even charging it. I'm letting you know right now with the shipping issues and COVID and the whole thing," because this was, right in the midst of COVID really hitting hard. He's like, "Shipping is a nightmare. I'm having a hard time getting all the parts out." He's like, "I got them all. I just can't get them out because we can't pick them up because China was in complete shutdown then." He's like, "You're a good 6 months out. I'm not going to charge your card. Say yes or no." We're like, no. He's like, "Cool, thanks." Thanks for the try. But, I mean, that was great. I mean, that was one thing I thought was awesome is he literally wrote us and said, yes or no, I'm not going to whack you for this and then have you sit on it. Which, I like that. I love a company that will stand up and say, "You may not want this." I'm not going to sell you something and then have you not like it. I would rather not sell it to you than have you not like it. That's a good company. And I will use them again as soon as this whole pandemic-y thing was over. I actually went to buy some stuff from him recently, and he's just, everything in his store was like, "Out of stock, 6-week wait, blah, 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 blah." And I was just like, no. But that should recover in I figure another year we'll be kind of out of a lot of this. Yeah, and it's not his fault. I mean, nothing he can do about it. He puts it in a box and hands it to the shipper, and off it goes. Once it's out of his hands, it's out of his hands. Nothing he can do about it. I mean, those are, 6 foot long, freaking 2 foot square aluminum encased boxes. The CNC machine is not tiny. It's a big machine. Big boxes. But yeah, the Onefinity would be, if I were to buy one now, I would try and get a Onefinity. Although, there's stuff about the Onefinity I really don't like. I'm not real big on their software / setup. I really don't like the stupid big screen. I guess it works. I do like the whole Xbox controller-y thing. I think that's kind of nice. That unit you bought me is nice there, Sergio. Sergio bought me basically the same thing for the open builds. But I think the controller would be a little bit nicer. The one thing I do like is the one I have has a little screen. It actually reads out, if I move it 10 millimeters, I'm not just looking at it. I can actually look on the screen and go, I want to move it 9.999 millimeters, and it'll move 9.999 millimeters. It's like having a little mini computer. Matter of fact, I think it's just a little Adreno in a box. I'm not sure if it's a Pi inside that thing or an Adreno, or, basically I know it's more. In reality, there's more to it than that, but I think that's the board is based on either an Adreno or a Pi setup. Anyway, I've been babbling for an hour and 10 minutes now, so I think I'm going to kill it because nobody else wants to come on and hang out. You want to come on and hang out? Or Sergio? I'll stay on if someone else comes on and hangs out. Or Jerry? Or Viking? Come on, Viking. You never hang out on stream anymore. You always hide in your little Discord. Somebody hop in. Come on now. Working? You're not working. You don't work, you old fart. You're full of it. You have a bunch of frickin' grunts that work for you. You don't do anything. You just point fingers. Go ahead, call me a jerk. I know you want to. I'm trying to get a deal on 4 videos. Deal on what? What are you justifying the cost of? Did you ever get your vac figured out there, Jerry? You really need to get your vac figured out. And you need to learn how to edit the depth of cut. Because your little laser activated sign looks pretty cool, but it almost looks like it cut too deep when you were cutting it. Oh, the Onefinity? Yeah. I'd like to get a deal on a Onefinity. I'd actually like it, I want the little one. Just like Jim got. I don't want the big one. I have big. I don't want big. I actually want a smaller, stiffer, tighter one so I can do things like aluminum, because that's what I would do with the Onefinity. It wouldn't even touch wood probably. It would just do aluminum and brass. I'd like to cut some brass inlays and stuff. They really like to do like whatever, wood signs, my little mallets, clocks, and then have brass, like in a clock, have the numbers inlaid in brass that you cut in the CNC. And I think that would be freaking awesome. I mean, I can cut aluminum on mine. It's just not. No, it's not too big. It's too big for what I need. I have big. I have a 5-foot square one now. It works just fine. The only reason I would want another one is because I want a smaller, tighter, stiffer one that I can cut metals with. Soft metals. Nothing wrong with the Journeyman. I think it's awesome. If I were to get a Journeyman, I'd probably get rid of my open builds. But my open builds is even bigger, so why would I want the Journeyman? Yeah, mine will cut aluminum. They set it up. I know I can cut aluminum. I've been reading people do it all the time. It's not as stiff. It's not as accurate. The Onefinity in that regard will absolutely smoke the open builds. My thing is I do really, 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 really like the open builds freaking controller. That thing is awesome. The open builds black box is it's not even one of, it is the best hobby grade CNC controllers out there. I've talked to a lot of people who are like, yep, uses Gerbil, not Mach 3, all that crap. Doesn't matter. There's people that are like, oh, you gotta have Mach 3 or you gotta have Mach 4. No, you don't. Gerbil works just fine. All the software set up, all the I want to call it slicers. They're not slicers. Toolpath software, CNC software. They all have plugins for it now. So any of the motion issues it has, which they all do, you have to tune them, which they do in their firmware / pre-flight software. Especially like Fusion. There's a Fusion profile for the open builds So any of its motion issues are taken care of there. Because like they all have like there's certain arcs they can't do, which I never knew. It's hard to describe. I don't know how to describe it. There's certain motions they can't do all at once, like too tight of an arc or too small of an opening, or they can't do it. But the machine profiles takes care of all that and fixes it. So like if it can't do that arc, what it'll do is it'll go in, pull out, go in, pull out, and then do the arc. Which every CNC has some issue like that, depending on the way its motion is, which I didn't know until I got into it. Yeah, honestly, that'll probably be my next one. I'll probably build a small, like, yeah, that would be cool there, Sergio. I was actually thinking about a laser. Hey, I hear a person. There's a Jerry. I was just getting ready to hang up too.
Hey, I know you're going to get off. If I better pop in. I had to go to my son's house. He bought it. He has a big TV set, a 70-inch, 75-inch, and he had a wall mount. So I had to help him put the wall mount up, and then put some hurricane clips on his patio cover outside.
Brand spanking new TV. I'm staring at.
Oh, cool.
Like stupid high res. I don't know if you knew, but I use my TV as my computer monitor.
I've done that in the past.
Yeah, that's what I'm using right now. My brother was up here the other day and we were doing something. He's like super geeky. He's like, what the hell? We bought you this Super Mac. Why is the resolution kind of off on your TV? And I'm like, because it's a freaking TV, not a monitor. He's like, oh, it's not a 4K? I'm like, no. He goes, you need a new TV for Christmas. Freaking 2 brand new TVs showed up the other day.
Wow. Nice.
It's a 4K. Oh my God. I was like, it's not that big a deal. It's yeah, you can see the pixels.
No.
This is like unbelievable. Not only is it clearer, but my real estate went from like this big to like it like quadrupled because of the 4K. I literally had to take the resolution and kick it down because everything on the screen was so tiny. I couldn't even read it. Yeah, the 4K was just.
If I was
so much clearer.
No,
I can't see the pixels anymore.
If I was selling my flags, which I'm not, or making money with my MPCNC making things, I could justify buying the Onefinity. So I'm trying to get a deal on it from them, and they're basically like, well, we'll put it through to the other department if they want. Anybody will let you know, which that means no. So if I don't want it. I'm not going to get it free. I'm not a big enough streamer like Jim. I would like to get a discount if I'm going to do a video series, but I don't think that'll even happen. And since I'm not making money with what I already have, I can't justify spending $2,000 to $3,000 buying it to make a bunch of videos on it and not sell my products. So
yeah, for one, Onefinity is not pushing for any more sales because they're generally back ordered anyways.
Yeah, like 4 months.
So, yeah, so they're not worried. They're not. It's not that they're not worried. It's just they can't. Increasing their sales numbers isn't doing them any good because they're already beyond what they can manufacture.
I wonder why. I wonder if it was where they're getting their parts at. If they can't get them, whoever's making it. I don't understand what the problem is with taking 4 months.
Like anything right now, it's just you can't get stuff a lot of times. And they're using pretty custom. I mean, they're tubing and because they're just standard LMUs.
Yeah,
but they're the big 50 millimeter LMUs. They're freaking huge, and that's what that whole thing is based on. And they're freaking awesome. Don't get me wrong, but I can't imagine there's, it's not like, hey, go order a NEMA 17. Those are kind of limited supply.
I started another Star Wars Aztec sign yesterday, and I was taping it in StreamYard in record mode, and I ran for a couple hours, and I went and looked at it. It's like, oh man, I got my bit depth too deep on my V by 60 degree V bit was too deep because I was cutting down too far. I was somewhere between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch, and I was just way too deep. So probably tomorrow morning, I got to get up early because it'll take so long to cut it on the MPCNC. It's like probably 15, 18 hours to cut it 2 foot by 2 foot. It just takes friggin' forever. And speeds and feeds, I don't know a lot about it, so I have to learn. I don't know what to kick up, what not to kick up. Watched a few videos and it kind of goes over my head. I got to figure it out. Or just get the bits, try to figure out what that bit recommends.
You know, I have quickly learned that the more I read about feeds and speeds, no one's going to give you feeds and speeds that are even general. I've discovered the best bet is, one, start with cheap-ass bits you don't care about. And I've lately been going and taking a chunk of wood and a bit, and usually like I'll buy a pack of bits or I'll buy two. I've got a couple of them, nice ones, that I buy 2 or 3, you know, halfway decent ones. And one of them is sacrificial, and I just sit there and feed it through the wood, making, you know, scribbly lines, and just feed it until I start getting issues, and then go, okay, that's the cap.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only thing it's the only way I've discovered to do it. And then, you know, let's say I get, you know, 1,000 millimeters per minute or second or whatever it is, you know, I'll say, okay, that's where my error starts. Kick it down to like 600 or 700. Then I know I get a nice, reliable cut out of it.
Then the Makita, I've got it running about halfway. You know, it's got a knob on it. It's not full speed. It's not slow. It's kind of in between, in the middle. Seems to be running plenty fast enough. And I use Easel, and I let Easel kind of pick my numbers for me. And
yeah, the problem with the Makita, and I mean, I knew this, and I've read about it too since the whole CNC, and why a lot of people like the Dewalt over the Makita. The Dewalt, even though it's bigger, is actually a little bit lighter than the Makita, which I still have a hard time with because I've had them both, and I could swear the Makita was lighter, but supposedly the Dewalt's a little bit lighter. Anyway, the biggest problem I always had with my Makita one, and why I got rid of it and got the Dewalt, was the speed controller. After a while starts vibrating, and it'll just start slowing down or speeding up on its own.
I've seen some clips on Thingiverse, and a lot of people have in videos, they put a clip on that to hold it. But mine hasn't moved on me. But yeah, I've seen where people put clips on them.
We used to put freaking duct tape on the speed controller.
Yeah.
You know, when I used it for a real live router out in the job sites.
Yeah.
Because it would always, like, you'd be going along, you'd be like, and you're like, you're like literally holding your thumb on the dial because it would just start vibrating loose. Other than that, I actually like the Makita. The more I've gotten used to the Dewalt, I kind of like the Dewalt better. I really do. I have 2 of them now. Like, I got rid of the Makita, and I have 2 Dewalt routers. I got one in the plunge router and one in the regular router, and, you know, I use them. I was going to get rid of it after I pulled it off the CNC and put the spindle on, and I'm not. I keep them because I use them multiple times a week, either in one or the other holder, and now I don't have to like take it out of the you know, standard base to put it in the plunge base. I can leave it in the, you know, I have one in each, and that's that.
Yeah.
And I literally use them multiple times a week, both of them.
And then I went down to Lowe's to buy a piece of walnut. Lowe's don't sell walnut anything. So I went on Home Depot's website and was like, oh my God, that's expensive. And it's just a little board.
Yep. Well,
wow.
How much are you looking for? Just like a foot square?
I want to carve a couple little bowls, you know.
Oh, so you want it pretty thick then?
Well, you know, based on my bit depth.
Yeah, you don't want a 3/4 inch, you know, you don't want a 1x6. You want, you know, 2 or 3 inch deep so you can carve a bowl.
No, at least, you know, an inch and a half at least. Something.
Yeah, well, that's not a bowl, that's a plate.
I got a bowl bit that I ordered a white side, and it's been dipped in plastic, and I know you got to cut that off because you don't want to try to start engraving with that plastic that's dipped in and have it fly off and hit you in the face.
Right off.
That's something where Liam Ike said, he goes, oh no, just leave it on and start your bit. It'll burn it right off. Yeah. It could tear up your wood. It could tear up your bed. It could hit you in the face. I mean, just cut it off.
It melts, but it melts to the bit. You don't want to do that. Just
cut it off.
Take a utility knife and you slice it a little bit and it'll peel right off. It's just anti-rust packing material. It saves the blade. That's all it is.
Like skill saw blades, you know, you can buy them. They got a plastic coating on them, or you get them resharpened on a job site and they come out and they're dipped in plastic or wax, whatever it is.
Yeah, I remember the old days. They used to all come with like that little thin piece of like C-channel all around the teeth. Yeah. Back in the old days. None of them do it anymore. They just wrap them in cardboard now.
Well, anyway, I took out a new credit card, which I can't afford to have. I'm not going to use it unless I can find a. Well, first off, I want to get a deal on the One Infinity, so I'm going to keep nagging at it and hopefully try to get a deal on it. I know it won't be free, but I'd like a deal if I'm going to do a bunch of videos on it. So I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that'll happen. If it don't, I have to justify if I buy it. Is it going to make me money, or is it just going to be another toy in the garage that I can't afford, and it's just going to sit there? So I got to figure it out.
I highly doubt if you get the One Infinity, it will sit there.
Well, if I can make some cool stuff that I can actually sell.
Yeah. My biggest problem with the selling now is I don't like dealing with the sales. So I got to find me a salesperson.
Yeah.
Which it looks like I've been talking with my aunt. I have a feeling my aunt's going to, because she is really into it. She saw some of this stuff and the clocks. She actually she bought a bunch of my cutting boards I made.
Oh, cool.
Like, I want those. I'm like, yeah, but you're my aunt. I can't sell you. She's like, no, you need money, and I want the cutting boards. Here's money. I'm taking the cutting boards.
If I know how to make, from all the videos I've seen, I know how to make cutting boards. I haven't tried it. The wood would be expensive depending on what you use, but I don't have a planer, so I'd have to buy a planer. So once again, I have to see, is it worth the investment?
You don't need a planer. You have a
it?
CNC. Your CNC is your planer.
Okay, I can just use that to face it then.
Yeah, you just pretend it to. Matter of fact, you with that you have a script that does the scrap board surfacing.
Yeah.
You just pretend it's a scrap board and you surface it.
Okay.
Boom, done. As long as everything's square and straight and parallel, and you have a surfacing bit, one of those big round bits, it'll flatten it out for you.
And then just flip it over and do the other side.
Yeah.
Because
that'll plane it and joint it all in one shot. Because
table saw, miter saw, I have all that.
And take out all the bows and arcs and everything. The only thing you don't want to do, if you have a bow in the board, don't clamp it down and straighten it. Because the minute you plane it and you release it, it'll spring back up. What you want to do is you actually set it on there, shim all the high spots, underneath, and just hot glue it right to your wasteboard. And that way it can't go anywhere, and it'll flatten it all in one shot. Get what I'm saying?
Oh, I know something I can show you that nobody's seen yet. You see it on the table. I don't have him done, but I got part of him glued together.
Oh, no way.
He's tall. When I put him on the floor,
like his full size. Because
he's on the floor, he's taller than this table. Right? And then his head, I'm doing a lot of sanding on the head. I can't glue the head on yet because I got to finish the head. But that's how tall he's going to be.
Yeah, well, that's about the size. That's like life size in the movie.
And I have all the parts here for the arms and hands. I just have to sand them up and get them glued together. But yeah, and then I'm going to use resin and paint over all these cracks with resin and cure it with my UV light. But yeah, he's pretty cool. I got a cool video that I want to do for him. But I'm hoping.
I'm assuming you've seen the movie.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
I'm going to rewatch it. I'll rewatch the movie before I paint him to see what I like with the way he's painted.
Yeah, because that's one of my favorite. That's one of my top 10 movies. Definitely, I love that movie. It's just so stupid. It was funny.
The top of his head. Remember when it got cut off because it fell over on my build plate? Yeah. I reprinted it and glued it on. I'm thinking, and then I'm like a dummy. I used epoxy sculpt to fill in all the cracks on it. I got a little too high and had to sand it. I should have used resin. I didn't think about it. I have resin. I got a UV light. I should have just painted it with resin and built it up. Now I primed it, sanded it, but I don't know. I don't think I can put resin over top of my primer because the primer, I don't think it'll bond to it properly. I'm not sure.
It should.
Think I can still paint it on? Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, Ram. How you doing? Stephen Pool Maker Viking, everybody. Hello, Sergio.
As long as you sand the primer lately, it should. I mean, the best thing to do is test it. Put a little dab on somewhere, out of sight. You cure it, and then take your finger and try and peel it off.
An idea I had for a video is I'm going to be sitting here at my desk like I'm taping a laser video or something. I'll look up at my outside cameras and go, what the hell? And then I'll turn it around and show everybody. And you'll kind of in the darkness see something. And I'll run out back in the dark like Blair Witch Project, kind of see what's there, and I won't find nothing. So I come back in, I do that again. Then I go to the other side of the house. I come back in, my wife's got the fridge door open. Hey, Brandy, guess what I think I seen outside? She don't answer me. I walk over there with my cell phone, pull the door back, and he's standing there flipping me off. And I want to
That'd be cute.
have a thumb, and then I'll tell about how I painted it and built it after that. But I want to have a thumbnail, which basically is like, I see an alien in my backyard or something that's catchy that maybe people will click on the video. I thought it might be pretty cool.
You need to change your name again. K9LAF, whatever the hell that's supposed to stand for. What's up, Ryan? I haven't seen you around a while on streams. Remember back in the day when he used to stream every Friday?
Constantly, yeah.
Every Friday, him and yeah, what's his name? Now I can't even think of his name. He used to stream. Yeah, brain fart, old man. Anyway, yep. So yeah, that's actually kind of cool. I wouldn't mind. That's one of those things I wouldn't mind printing myself because I don't usually do like models. I'm not big into dust collecting shelf sitters, but that's something I wouldn't mind having like sitting in the corner over here, a big old frickin' Paul. But that's just I can't. I don't trust. I don't trust any printer. I don't care what it is. I don't trust printers running overnight.
There's no infill. It's all solid. It's all hollow.
It's still like 2 days to print that head.
Well, right? I printed everything two or three parts at a time on one printer over like a week or so. I wasn't in a hurry. I could have loaded up multiple printers. I wasn't in a hurry. So, yeah, all my models have never made me, okay, they made me a tiny bit of money, basically nothing, and I've wasted thousands upon thousands on all this for 5 years. So CNC, I have a construction background, as you know. I love working with wood and things. So once I got my MPCNC finally running, I've been having a blast with it. I'm like, why didn't I get this running a year ago?
Yeah.
But
no, the CNCs are, I'd rather have a CNC than a laser, but it's by like about that much. I would like to have a laser too, but the CNC is definitely more for my mental attitude. I am so glad I got a CNC over a laser.
Oh yeah,
my brother debating on which one to get.
One Infinity has like a 7-watt laser, and they want like $700 for it. Are you kidding me? Are you ridiculous? $700? No, just for a laser head? No, not even a good deal. So, you buy what you need from them and you buy other stuff from other people and add to it. Don't always buy everything from the same place because everybody don't always have the best product or the best price for that item. They just have it for convenience.
Yeah, the Infinity is a nice unit.
It's very fast Xbox controller.
Yeah.
Build a nice
There's stuff I don't like about it, but there's stuff I definitely do. I kind of like and don't like. I want it out longer because again, it's only been out just a year, a little over a year now. I mean, they were out in demo units longer, but it's really been only on the market for about a year.
The tubes appear to be heavy enough; they're never going to tweak or bend.
No, not unless
the motors are big enough. They're on ball
cinder block on them. You're not going to screw those tubes up. They're freaking solid stainless steel.
No, they're not. They're hollow.
The whole thing's cast aluminum.
They're hollow tubes.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, they're hollow, but they're like
real beefy.
They're heavy.
Yeah.
And they're massive. They're 50 millimeter or 35 millimeter tubes.
Yeah.
They're not tiny. My two things, I don't really like the control board touch screeny whole setup. And not that it itself is bad, just the way the wiring to it and the setup, it's just kind of hokey. And I like the neatness of their wiring because I don't know if you know, they literally use like old phone cord, the curly Q phone cord like we used to have.
Going to the Z motor, yeah.
Yeah, for all the motors and to the extruder and everything.
Everything else appeared to be just straight wiring with the plastic crap on it, like 3D printers. But the one is coiled in the back.
Yeah, it's like old phone cord.
Yeah.
How long that's going to last, the way it attaches and everything. From looking at some of them attachments, I'm a little. It's a lot of motion on that thing going back and forth.
And I definitely want to put a router, spindle on it. So.
Yeah, but you don't have to go crazy with the spindle either. I mean,
yeah, they have them on Amazon, and they're $300 to $400, I think.
Yeah, mine was $200. It's $199 with the pump, the water system, everything you need. It was $200.
Yeah, I see one guy used antifreeze on it. He put antifreeze.
That's what I use.
Yeah, I guess anything.
Because I was gonna, I had water in it. I was gonna go to mineral oil, but such a pain in the ass to pump the water out since I started with water to separate the mineral oil from the water and not have it turn all jelly in there.
Uh-huh.
I just said screw it. I had a freaking bucket of antifreeze left over. Just poured antifreeze in there. And that way, it's unheated out there, so I couldn't leave water.
I
got would have been frozen and cracked by now.
I got that little 3018 from Congrow, the little CNC. They sent me a replacement board because I was having trouble with it. And now that it works, I'm strictly using my MP CNC. I haven't even messed with the toy, the little one. I mean, I told I need to do another video, a couple more videos on it for him, but I go straight to my MP CNC.
Yeah. The little one looks cute, though. I wouldn't mind having one just for doing little stuff, little engravings and like your little laser sign you just said, laser in operation. I probably would have done that on the little one over the big one.
Huh?
Because it almost looks like, and I'm not picking on you, but it almost looks like you over grooved because you used the engraving settings when you made that laser sign, right?
60-degree V-bit is what I used. I'm just easy. I just found a picture and I traced the picture, and you always pick your depth.
Yeah, it looks like you went too deep because if you look at like the ends of the letters, you have that like dog bone shape. Which there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just
the corner. That's just as the font I think I picked the corner where the corners come up, and it kind of grooved out the corners.
Well, that's engraving does that. If you do engraving, it like anytime it ends, it like it doesn't just go down, make it a face, and then dry. Engraving, the whole point is that it comes and slopes out at the end of every line, and it gives it, that gravestone look.
So I don't know. One infinity.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That little one, even though it's tiny, you should be able to do like aluminum and brass and stuff with that little one with no problem.
2 horsepower dust extractor from Harbor Freight is on the agenda to buy at some point. They're like $220 right now. They're get $20 off for a couple more days. You put a bag down below. It's got a filter up top, a bag filter, which at some point you put a real filter on it and get rid of that bag.
Or for you, how close to your nearest neighbor?
Well, on one side it's just desert and a huge side yard, so it's nobody close. You're just going to say vent it outside.
Yep, just pump it right outside like with a dryer vent.
But I wonder how much debris would I see coming outside? Not much.
The bag, put a separator on it. Do the separator. To get rid of your big stuff. Don't even bother with the bag. It's freaking useless. I have one. And I actually have a decent one my brother gave me. I won't even use it. I went back within a day to using my, I have a central air vac that I use with regular like paper bags. They're big, but they're paper bags.
Yeah.
Because that Harbor Freight bag, and mine's not even Harbor Freight. It's actually the Grizzly, and it's the 5 micron. I could see the dust fucking blowing out of the thing, and that's really bad for you. Really bad for you. The big particles you see aren't as bad for you as that micro dust. That stuff's nasty. Especially if you're doing like MDF.
I used to grind a lot of concrete in front of a bunch of different elevators in this one tower, and you got a great big setup like that laying on the floor, but the minute you touch the bag, you see the dirt fall off of it. It goes right through it. It helps, but it doesn't stop it. Yeah,
it stops a lot of the bulk.
So I'm wearing a respirator on top of grinding, and
but the bags are good for the big stuff. They're not good for the small stuff. If you put a separator on it, you're already getting the big stuff. And then I would literally because I'm getting ready I'm going to pump it right outside. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to use my I got a big like 2.5 or 3 horsepower. My brother gave me it too. It's freaking huge. And takes the 6-inch, not even the 4-inch, takes the 6-inch pipe, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to pipe the whole freaking garage. And I'm going to put the separator on it. I'm going to 3D print another one because I can't use my little 2-inch pipe. I'll have to make one with a 4-inch pipe. But, dump it into a garbage can. But anything excess is going to go right out the door. I'll put a little dryer vent,
Flapper thing,
Yeah. And just right out the back window.
Yeah. Well, where there's a couple places in my garage I can put it, I can do that. So And there is no.
That's why I asked. If you got a neighbor, you don't want to do that because
There's nobody on that side of me.
Their yard. But
yeah,
as long as you're not doing like a lot of MDF, if you're doing all like natural woods and pines and hardwoods and stuff like that, the fine dust is actually good for the yard. As long as it's not like, like anything to a point. If you're dumping 50 pounds of it a week out there, that's not good. But if, again, if you separate it, keep all your massive bulk material in a, cyclone separator of some sort. You can buy the Home Depot one. You can 3D print one, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, Harbor Freight, $40. I got one.
Yeah, if you get the separator. Separate in a garbage can, then you have the sawdust that's like regular everyday sawdust like we're used to seeing on a job site. The fine particle crap, which is actually what you have to worry about breathing, just goes out into the air and settles on the ground and becomes compost for your grass or your flowers or your ants or your
my table saw. I see they make a bag at Harbor Freight for $10. You can put underneath it, which I never knew about. Because every time I rip down even 2 or 3 2x4s, I got a mountain of sawdust on the floor. So I vacuum up 90% of it. Then I get my blower or my air compressor and blow out the rest of it out in my driveway.
Which puts it right down in the air and you breathe it. I did the same thing. Dude, I got one of those little battery-powered leaf blowers. I bought all battery-powered lawnmowers and weed whackers. It came with one of the other tools. It was like a deal. You got it for free kind of deal. I'm like, this thing's useless, but I'll get it. It's good for doing sidewalks. That's how I clean my garage now. I work every day. When I'm done for the day, I open both garage doors up, and I just take the leaf blower and I start from one end. I go, I just blow everything out the door. Big dust cloud, let it settle for 5 minutes, do it again. Place is cleaner than if I sweep it.
I bought 2 sheets of that
dust up into the air and it settles on everything. But
I bought 2 4x8 sheets of that foam. It's got the foil back on one side for my garage door the other day, and I was taking a miter saw, hand saw, and I was cutting it with that, and I realized it's a lot easier after I mark it. Just take a razor blade, run it down twice, pop it, and then put like tape on the other side. And that made a lot of crap everywhere. So I swept up most of it, and then I grabbed my leaf blower and plugged it in and blew it out, blew it away from my garage.
Yeah, that's something I probably would sweep up and put in the garbage. I wouldn't blow the foam out into the yard.
I got 90% of it up, and there's a very little bit that I actually blew. I need to buy 2 more sheets. They only had two good ones out of 4, so half the garage is done. So
yeah, but actually, with all the sawdust, because all my sawdust goes right out into my driveway. And it's actually good because I got a stone driveway. It's all sand and stone. There's a section in one bay that was like a dip, and it kept filling in with like water and turning into puddles. And so over the years, as I've been working on the driveway, as I get, softball, golf, stones that like pop up in the driveway and you got to get rid of. I've been throwing them in that low spot. Well, now all that sawdust I keep blowing it into that hole. It's like nice and level. The rain like doesn't fill it in. It's no longer a mud puddle. It's awesome. It's all full of sawdust and old stones.
Dump a little glue in there and stir it all up,
Yeah, no plasticky stuff. I'm trying to keep the yard semi-natural. I actually been grinding up the leaves because I got the leaf grinder. People are like, "What do you do with all those leaves?" It's like I throw them through the grinder, and I leave the bag open. I spit them right back out on the lawn.
Yeah,
they just grind them up. So they're not blowing around the yard anymore. And it actually doesn't look bad because they're all ground up. Just looks like compost spread out on the lawn. By summertime, the grass starts growing all around it, and it's fine.
My glue that I buy, my 2P10 with spray activator, I need another bottle, and I accidentally bought the thin one. It's runny like water. I do not like it. So I got another gel one coming in the mail that's a lot thicker. This one
here. I used to get that. Very same brand.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Why?
My activator is like, it's just slow. I have the thin, and I actually like the thin for certain applications. I got that kit that had like thin, medium, thick, and gel in the bottom of activator, which I bought it like 10 years ago. I burned through most of it. All I really have left is the thin. For one, the cap kept gluing shut. It's like, the cap's supposed to be silicone, so it can't glue itself. But
I gotta stick a needle in there all the time and open it back up. Then I had a couple things right up on me.
The Star Bond brand doesn't have that issue with the cap. So
Before I got into 3D printing, I was doing a lot of trim work in my house. You know, it was like MDF molding, and I was watching a carpenter's video, and that's where I learned about this stuff. And when I got into 3D printing, this is, same type of thing. So I just kept using it for all my models.
Well, I use the thin stuff a lot of times, like for this old oak and stuff, because like the old oak will start splintering or something. A piece will, you'll get the chip that'll come off. If you use that really thin stuff and you put it in there and you let it cure, then I can like pour the resin in there and the resin won't pour right through. It'll seal it better. I don't know how else to describe it, but it seals all the holes. So if I go to pour resin, it doesn't just flow through it.
I made 2 Christmas signs based on your idea of pouring resin in the letters after you engrave them. I got a couple signs I made like that. And I used a blue, I think I showed them before. I used a blue dye and it wound up looking like it was green based on the stain that's underneath it. So
yeah, well, the wood's yellow and I had the same problem. I did a clock with a blue. It's got a blue logo on it, and it looks kind of. My brother keeps going, yeah, that green logo, and it's not green, it's blue. Goes, yeah, but it looks yellow green. It's like, yeah, that's because the oak's yellow and the frickin', it's a semi-transparent resin.
Yeah, I used a dark wood stain on the pine to make it, I stained everything really good once it was dried. Then I poured it in, and the blue did turn green. So when you look at it, it does look green, even though I used blue.
I'm liking I just actually got another couple small bottles of resin yesterday. I just started getting smaller bottles. Right now, if you're looking for, for that kind of resin, the little 8-ounce bottles, you get 16 ounces, 2 8-ounce bottles are on sale for you could buy 4 of them for the same price as the bigger. They're like $8 for the kit right now instead of 12 or $13. So you can literally buy 2 little kits and get the same amount as the big kit, for less money kind of deal. So
I think mine were like $20 and the kit was like 22, but I don't need the kit. I just bought a couple bottles. I don't know where I put them at, but they're about out.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing. It's just they were on sale, or they were last week.
Yeah, this is 8 ounces of paint, so yeah, they're about that big.
Yeah. The first one I bought that I'm still using. I still got a bunch of it because you don't really use that much when you're just doing the letter inlays. Was 32 ounces, 2 16-ounce bottles, so you end up with 32 ounces. This kit I just got are 2 little 8-ounce bottles, but again, the first one I got was like $25, and I just spent $8. So it was $8. I could buy 2 for $8, only spend 16, and get the same amount as the big one for 22. So it's $4 or $5 less. Need it? Got a 12-volt freaking printer? You want a 12-volt heater? These heaters are wicked nice.
Oh, cool. Steven got his free roll filament. Yeah, I haven't got mine yet. They said they'd send me one too. Conroe didn't have that many people watching me and Liam on their live stream. They said, everybody gets a free roll. Just give us your information. So that was cool.
When was that? I missed it. I would have loved free roll. I like free filament.
3 weeks ago.
I didn't see that one. Not big on. Actually, I don't know. Whatever. I've heard good and bad things about Conroe. They're actually selling new. I mean, I know they started as just refurbing Creality printers, but they have their own brand of printer now, right? I mean, it's just a Creality clone. But
I'm not sure. I got their Conroe laser. I got another one of their laser heads, and I got their little CNC. So
yeah, see, they're doing more than just. They started out as just refurbing Creality stuff.
Yeah, reselling.
I mean, I've heard good things about it. I've heard bad things, but I mean, they're refurbers. It's never going to be perfect. That's what they do. They refurb.
Old Curmudgeon, go watch the video, contact him, and ask him, where's it at? I sent you an email. Why haven't I got it yet? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Old Curmudgeon. What was your address?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I'm not that much of a slime ball.
Old Curmudgeon, what's his name? I forget what his name was. We're friends on Facebook, but I forget what his name is.
Old Curmudgeon.
Yeah.
That is his name as far as I'm concerned now. He's not even that old. He's a young pup.
He's in his 30. I think he's in his 40s, late 40s, early 50s. I think late 40s.
He's like 30. How old are you, Old Curmudgeon? You're like 30 or 35 or something. He's young. He used to hang out on a stream with us. He's been on my streams before.
He don't use his Facebook name anywhere. Is your Facebook name your real name? I won't. If I know what it is, I won't say it. So okay.
Just type it in there. He won't say it, but just put it in the chat.
He's 48. So yeah, he's half. He's half.
He's older than they thought he was.
He's half dead.
He's still young compared to us. Me and you are old. You got, what, a year on me?
I'm 57.
Yeah, so you got a year.
June. And some days I feel that old and older, and sometimes I don't.
Yeah. My brain still thinks I'm 16.
Yeah.
My body thinks it's 90. That's why I'm in here today. I'm supposed to be out working in the garage. I can't do anything. I was working on one of the cutting boards. I went and I just reached out with my right hand and I picked it up to flip it over and sand the backside. And my whole arm just like locked up, started screaming in pain. I was like, what the hell? And now it's just, if I took my shirt off, my whole shoulder is like swollen right here. I could barely move my right arm.
My brother's a retired carpenter, swinging a hammer his whole life. And his right arm right now, his whole wrist is swollen. And the doctor and the nurse, his neighbor, thinks it's carpal tunnel. And his whole arm is like dead. I tried to shake hands with him. He has no grip in either hand.
Yep. I'm left-handed though. So that's not my problem.
Huh.
It happened I did it 2 months ago. I was out mowing the lawn, picked up a rock. See, I just moved my hand too fast. Picked up a rock, bowling ball size, like you normally do. Rolled off the wall when I bumped it with the leaf mulcher. So I went to pick it up and move it, and that was the first time I did it. It was just like excruciating, sharp pain just going down my arm. I was like, what the hell? Yeah, I will keep my shirt on, right? Be almost as ugly as you. Almost. Not quite as ugly as you. Almost. Yeah, I don't know. It's just driving me nuts. My whole arm is like all up the side of my chest, all down my arm. And I can feel, it's not like a joint thing. It's definitely a muscle or a tendon or, because it's all down into the elbow. It's just driving me nuts.
My brother had a carpenter friend years ago. He picked up a real heavy door. Some of those doors are like 10, 12 feet tall. And him and another guy were moving a really heavy door, and he went to pick it up, and his whole muscle on his arm just ripped loose and went all the way down to his elbow.
Yeah.
How that happened, I don't know, but he strained it too much and completely ripped his muscle loose on his arm.
I'm guessing it's one of my old car accident wounds coming back to haunt me. Because this is where the first one I had, not the one that broke my neck, but the first one that did all the face damage and right side and broke all my ribs and severed my 2 right fingers off. Hit me. I had my arm, when you put your hand out the window, you put your hand on the window and you put your hand on the window frame. I took the telephone pole on my arm, severed these 2 fingers off and all jacked up and broke all my ribs and shattered a whole bunch of bones in my arm and legs and blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, I have a feeling it's from that. Because I got scars all up and down my arm and everything from all the surgeries and my shoulder and everything. Mm-hmm. And that honestly, after the accident, a year or 2 later, never really bothered me. It was actually one of the least bothersome issues I ever had until recently. I hadn't even gone to the doctor. I'm just like, why bother? They're gonna say, here's some painkillers. Have a nice day. They're not gonna do anything. Nothing they can do. They're like, go see a doctor. Why? So I can spend a bunch of so I can spend $10,000 for them to go, there's nothing we can do. Do this, do that. Go to physical therapy. Yeah, right. That's the biggest waste of money I've ever spent.
Yeah, my wife's been there a few times. I have years ago.
That's the new thing. Oh, go physical therapy. Stretch. My daily activity, I'm just an active person. I don't need to go to physical therapy. My daily active routine is physical therapy. I can't sit still that long. I have to do stuff. I'm always doing stuff. I don't need physical therapy.
I've got an elevator weight. I keep under my CNC, a big steel weight like they use in elevators on job sites.
Yep.
Weighs like 200 pounds. Anyway, I dropped that on the floor under my CNC. I put a copper wire under it to ground it. And then I went up to one of my bolts on my frame, wooden frame, to ground it. and then I ran it over to my hose that has a wire in it that I showed you. I don't have it in here now, and I grounded to that. So if I'm using the vacuum, technically everything is grounded because it sits on rubber feet. So the wooden frame and everything is on rubber feet on rollers, and it's not grounded because of the rubber feet. So now it's grounded.
In theory, I mean, yeah, it is. It's it should keep you from getting any damage. It's not as good as a real ground wire to a ground, but it's darn close. Yeah, it's gonna keep you from getting whacked if anything really,
But
got juiced up.
Why would I say something about you? I didn't say nothing about my wife. Did I say anything bad about my wife today?
Not bad.
I was talking about the video earlier. About the video. I was talking about the video with the alien.
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, freaking Sergio, you're the oldest one of all of us, and you're probably the healthiest one of all of us too. I know he's way healthier than I am. And he's
if I got in a fight with myself 10 years ago, the other guy would win.
Actually, I think he's got more than that. I think he's got darn close to 10 years on me and you. And he's freaking more fit than I am, that's for sure. I have an excuse, man. Cars have torn my body to bits on multiple occasions. I've had parts chopped off by cars.
Yeah, you only got 550 subs. I don't understand why. You should have way over 1,000, if not a couple thousand.
Because I'm a jerk.
Well, not all the time.
Well, it's YouTube, dude. It's social media. You only got to be a jerk once, and you're branded for life.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a pretty sarcastic person. I try to tone it down, but
I was gonna say, you got more. What do you got? You got a couple thousand subs now, don't you?
Yeah, 2,800, I think, which ain't that many. I've been doing this for like 5 years, but I don't make enough videos. I don't have enough good content. I'm an older person, so I think there's a lot of reasons why I might not be bigger than I am.
Yeah. Well, my big, I'll go and put out like 4 videos and then nothing for months. The last video I did was like 3 months ago. I did the planer blade video. I changed the head. That was like 3 months ago. And then
you done the video a week ago where you rebuilt the stand on your bandsaw.
Yeah, which is like 2 months after the planer video.
Every minute of it. I sat there and watched every minute of it.
Yeah. And I actually lost like 20 or 30 subscription viewers when I went to woodworking. If the last like 4 videos have been wood, not 3D printing, I've had subscribers desubscribing because of it. Whatever.
There's nothing wrong. Wood's been around since the beginning of time.
Yeah. Well, some people are just more interested in the 3D printing, I guess. I don't care.
One channel, you can have anything you want on it, because when people do a search, they're not necessarily looking at just your channel. They're searching for something. That's what I do. I go to the search bar on anything I might be interested in. I watch people's videos on whatever item.
Yeah. Well, usually most mornings, because I get up at like 3 a.m. Usually most mornings I'll get up and instead of disturbing the whole house, I'll actually hit the subscription button on my YouTube, and like all the newest videos from all my people I'm subscribed to pop up, and I'll just watch some videos in the morning. Just kill an hour.
Oh, cool.
Which I know a lot of other people actually do. They don't just randomly watch videos. They watch videos from subscribers.
I see the recommended on YouTube, so I just scroll through the recommended to see who did what. And
I hate the recommended on YouTube. I very seldom watch it because it's usually garbage.
And if you watch one, let's say, garbage video on recommended or 2, now all of a sudden your recommended is full of them. And
like every once in a while, that's what pisses me off. Every once in a while, I love watching like old rock and roll videos on YouTube. Like, just, I'll watch an old like Stones video from a concert, back in the 70s. It'll be a little square in the screen. It's all like blurry black and white and real. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, okay, that was cool. And then you go back to your like home screen on YouTube, and all of a sudden there'll be like 30 freaking old crappy videos from garbage, classic rock. And it's like, I don't want to watch just that. Sure, recommend one more. Don't like take over my whole freaking home screen because I watched one video. Yeah, their algorithms of what to watch next are just annoying. Very annoying.
Yeah, sometimes I wish I had a computer hooked up to my TV in the living room because when I don't want to sit in my computer chair upright, I can just kick back on the couch and read about how to do this and how to do that. But, not everything's on my screen.
That's what these are for.
Tablet?
Yeah. That stupid stand right there holds my tablet while I'm in bed. And, like, it actually opens up. It'll go all the way across my bed almost. That is the best thing I've ever wasted money on in my life. It's almost $200 for that stupid thing.
Uh-huh.
The freaking base of that thing is like solid lead or concrete or something. It weighs like.
Oh, I see. It looks like it grabs the screen on all four sides.
Yeah, it clamps down on the tablet.
Yeah.
It's actually good because it's made for like if you have one of these stupid oversized cases because you're like me and you drop this thing all the time and you don't want to break it. So I have one of these whatever they call them cases like you normally put on your phone. My phone case isn't as beefy as my iPad case. Anyway, it grabs that with no problem. But it's an arm and it arcs out over my bed. I watch freaking YouTube videos and crap in bed with that. I watch TV on it. I've got the Comcast hooked up to it. So I turn the TV off at night and I watch TV on the iPad. It's just easier. I don't have to worry about finding remotes. I just tap the screen. You can fast forward through stuff easier because it does the same thing as YouTube, even on Comcast. You just tap the screen and it does, 30-second fast forwards.
Yeah.
So if I got something on my DVR, which I should check that because supposedly that works now. Freaking Comcast. I know that thing's busted. I was on I got a new DVR box because the old one's crapping out. It's 15 freaking years old. I said, I want a new one. They're like, all right, you've had it 15 years. You need a new one. So they sent me a new old one. It's beat to shit. It's all scratched up. It's obviously a refurb. Whatever. I don't care. I'm not paying for it. I freaking get it installed today, and it just kept erroring. Just kept erroring and erroring. And I know enough about them. Unplug it, reset it, check your wires. I put the old one back in to make sure, like, the cable hadn't gotten screwed up or something. It connected up instantly. No problem. Put this one back in. Errors. Get online with them because I don't even bother calling Comcast anymore. I've learned it's just easier to do the whole get on the iPad and do the chat service. Just freaking easier because if they say something stupid, you could just go, yes, I did that. It didn't work. You know what I mean? So did that. Hour and a half I was on with them and they're like, oh, well, the system says you have to wait an hour and it should clear it. I'm like, it's an error. It's saying there's an obvious error. Gives you a code for that error. It ain't going to clear in an hour. There's something wrong with that unit. It's just not a good unit. They refurbed it. They didn't do a good job. I can guarantee you right now it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not working. Now I can look at it. None of the screens are up. The clock's not up. It's got like the what a clock normally is. It's got the little bars. Nothing's working on it right. It's just it keeps going out and blacking out and coming back on. And you must reset. There's an issue with your account. And like, there's nothing wrong with my account. It's just a shitty, crappy freaking box. Send me another one.
Have you ever played with Clipper yet?
No.
No.
Nope. For one, the only advantage I see a Clipper is if you have a fancy printer, you can print a fancy printer a little bit faster, which sure, I'd like to print a little bit faster, but I don't care. The time, the energy, the issues, the setup, the undocumented, who knows what the hell you're doing, the geek setup, the whole new. I have a hard enough time with Marlin. I just know.
Hey, Big Jano.
I actually riprap firmware was okay. I get better prints out of Marlin. I literally got noticeably better prints. This was don't do that. I had the Duet on this for 2 years before I switched it back to a Marlin board. And putting it back to a Marlin board, I instantly got noticeably better prints out of it. Why? Maybe it's a setting in the slicer that, RipRap firmware didn't like as well as Marlin, whatever. I don't know. Marlin just gives me better prints. I have yet to see a better quality print out of Clipper than you can get out of Marlin. So why bother with all the headaches and everything? There are advantages. Don't get me wrong. I like the setup. I like that once you get it set up, like RipRap firmware, it's an easy, type of code line in and, no compiling the whole thing to upload and
change it on the fly and it works.
That's nice. I love the idea of, and I have a feeling Marlon will have it soon, the accelerometer setting for, frame vibrations. I think that is an absolutely smashing setup idea. But
well, I've got an Anycubic Viper, was given to me free from Anycubic from somebody here in Vegas that had a bad machine and needs another motherboard and a control board. I'm not going to spend $80 on one, but I do have big Tree Tech boards laying around. I'm sure I could put one of those in it, but then I'd have to change the screen. And a few people said, well, why change the screen? Just put Clipper on Pi Zero, a 2 gig Pi Zero. But I don't have a Pi Zero. They're out of stock, but I got a lot of Pi 3Vs laying around.
Yeah, it'll work.
The Pi 3V.
You gotta change the screen.
Well, I'd have to change the screen because I don't think that, well, I don't know if the screen that's in it is compatible with the big Tree Tech board. Maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know.
What screen's on it?
I don't know. It's a touch screen, but I don't know.
Oh, I thought it was an old fashioned, because I don't even bother with all those fancy screens. I got a couple of them. I went back to regular. I prefer the frickin', basic old full graphics or the old, 2004 screens. I want a screen on the printer. That was the other thing I didn't like about the Duet. You couldn't put a cheapo regular. I want the readout on the printer. I want to be able to glance at the printer and go, yeah, this is what it's doing. Everything's right. My heats are hot. My, bed's at the right temperature. It's moving. I also want it there. So if something isn't right, I can push a freaking button and it stops.
Because quite often you might have to reload the program on your computer. In the meantime, it's over there dragging on the bed.
Or the tablet, and it's freaking out over here, and you're trying to load a web page from freaking RipRap firmware. No.
Well,
I want mechanical kill on the printer.
Thomas, I'm assuming why they're saying a Pi Zero for me is you can hide it inside the control box, and it's all enclosed and hidden. Where the Pi 3 is big in a case, and you'd have to sit next to it like they do now. But I've got like 3 or 4 of them that I jump in between printers. I don't even rename them. I have Octoprint on all of them. I just plug it in the new printer to load it, pull it up on my screen, load the file, and I control everything from right here instead of over there.
Actually, from what I understand, the new Pi Zero is basically the same thing as an old Pi 3. If I got that right, I don't know the exact details, but they're using the same base processor as the old Pi 3s, and then in the new Pi Zero, it's got less RAM and less import, ports in it, less USB ports. But other than that, it's basically
they're like $10 or $15. And my Canon kit for the Pi 3Bs are like $75.
Yeah,
they come with everything, a case and everything. And Amazon's completely wiped out on Pi Zeros.
Yeah, everything is. They've come out and openly stated they can't make them right now because they can't get the damn chip. There's like no Pis going out. I got a Pi 4 sitting here I was going to play with. I never played with it. My brother gave it to me. Brand new. Never been used. Never been plugged in. I was going to put it on one of my printers, but I got Pi 3s and they work. Why do I need any more? Yeah, everything is being lost. This was shipped from Germany. This box I opened today was shipped from Germany in, I think, October, like 28th, 29th, like the day before, the day after Halloween.
Those tornadoes, are there any of those tornadoes back where you live? I mean, there's been like, a zillion tornadoes come flying through all those states, killing everybody, wiping everything out. Took out half an Amazon, took out that candle factory.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But that this took like 2.5 months to get to me. The last time Max sent me anything from Germany, I had it literally the next day. He mailed it on Sunday for us. It was Monday for him. and I had it Monday here when I got my other OmniaDrop. And this thing took months and months and months.
Yeah, I've got
3 months.
I don't know when I really have time to work on anything. Like right now, we're chatting, and I was busy at my son's, and I'll tinker when I get off here. But it's hard to get anything accomplished. The day just goes by that quick. You know, I might work on the alien behind me.
I got too much going on to get into anything, but I'm definitely installing this. So I'm just debating on whether I want to put it on that or that. I really kind of want to put it on the pumpkin, but the pumpkin's all orange and this is white. I mean, that thing is freaking orange. There's nothing but orange and black on it, and this is white.
Check out how bright this orange is that I got from Loyal. It's filament 1.
Yeah,
look how bright
like,
that is. And in
like,
person, it's really that bright.
Yeah, no, I know. It's the same thing with that stuff. When I call it retina burning orange.
Yeah.
If you get up close to that, it's like it hurts your eyeballs.
Yeah, this is like crazy orange. I thought about painting it, but I've never had an orange that bright. I'm just going to leave it like that. That's a 200%.
Was that what did you say that was? Filament 1?
Yeah, filament 1. It's cold.
You got a black light?
Not handy. I mean, I got my. Let's see.
You got one of those ultrasonic flashlights, ultraviolet flashlights.
Flash orange It's called a flash orange transparent.
Yeah.
I got my UV flashlight.
I bet that's fluorescent. If you hit it with a UV light in the dark, it'll glow.
Well, let's find out. Let me grab it.
From the looks of it, I would have to say, because especially where the one thing I discovered, I guess video cameras, when they hit fluorescent / UV capable colors with the cameras, that's what makes them blow out. Yeah, it's hard to tell on the camera. It just looks like a flashlight shining on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not doing nothing for it.
Is that actually a UV light? That's not a black light, though. That's a UV.
It's for
light.
curing my resin prints.
Yeah. But that's not actually purple, right?
They look purple.
Oh, is it?
It's not
hard
a
to tell on
light
the camera.
You wouldn't want to shine that on your skin or in your eyes.
Well, you can shine it on your skin for a little while.
Get a suntan, you know. But yeah, it's a pretty color. I put supports on his hat, but not far enough back because I have a little damage underneath in the back on both sides, front and back. And I supported his crotch, of course, and then the hat. I didn't like auto supports. There was too many supports. So I just went in and put a row across the front, a row across the back, but I should have went in further this way. I just put them on the edge.
Yeah. Little oil. Anyway, it's been 2 hours. What the hell time is it? See, the clock's not even up on that thing.
1:15 here in Vegas. You've been on for 2 hours, 13 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 2 o'clock.
But yeah, I'll get going, and you'll probably want to get off here too. But thanks for chatting with me. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Glad you popped in so we could hang out for another hour.
Awesome. All right. Take care. Virtual fist bump.
Ow. Oh, freaking hurts so
Take it easy.
All right, later. Yep. Time to kill it. You all have fun. Have a good day. It was a spur of the moment box opening Tuesday, and now it's over. See yous.